Thunderclap Fiditch? More like Thundercap Fiditch, bro. Why are you wasting so much time? Before we have this review of chapter 47 of Foreign to the Apocalypse, please do me a favor, leave your own notes on the chapter in the comment section down below, leave a like, and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, make sure the little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below. If you'd like to support me in any way, every little donation helps. Now, let's get into it. What's up, guys? I got a pencil here, and here we are to chapter 47 of Foreign to the Apocalypse, which is known as Final Blow of Desperation. And, I like the chapter, right? But, Sin knows everything about these guys, but he just doesn't know their nature, I guess. Because what the heck? But let's hop right into the chapter itself. So we open up. And actually, before we open up, I actually really do like this lineup. Because it just shows all the battles that each of our cast has had. Or in the upcoming battle between our leader and their leader. It's a really cool opening shot. Because it displays everything that's already happened in a sense. And also, on top of that, it displays what's to come. It's a really interesting, despite being so simple. Because it's literally just 8 boxes. However, I wonder, there were originally 5 Dark Talismans. So, would have that spear throwing dude, would he have shown up here? Would he have been related with Sin or something like that? I wonder what. Oh, did Nakba do that on purpose? That has to be on purpose, because there's no way you introduce a character for a group and then just kill them off just so you have even numbers. So that was slick on Nagaba's part. I see you, but let's hop into the chapter itself. So we get to see that our man Fiditch has declared checkmate upon our team, and honestly, reasonably, at the start of this chapter, it should be checkmate. No one's healthy. No one's in top tier shape. Nalcines is still beaten down. Percival's still out of energy. Nothing, nowhere in any way, shape, or form should our team be ready for this. This should be checkmate. They should not just be in check. However, for some reason, the thing is, Fiditch says it's checkmate, and he's holding Dragon Handle. And we see that Percival manages to turn his head slightly, right? He's facing forward in fear, turns his head slightly, and then Fiditch swings, but then apparently, I'm not sure if Fiditch has a slow swing speed or if Percival just has a really high fall speed, bro. Because for some reason and somehow, after Fiditch swings, we really get to see Fiditch swing the blade, Percival trips and manages to fall a little bit, so he gets just clonked on the head rather than, I guess, what Fiditch was going for. But that doesn't, I guess it makes sense, because I guess Fiditch was going for a decapitation. So the fact that Percival lowered a bit, but how did he even trip? I don't know. I'm kind of confused. That was weird. I get that you couldn't decapitate Percival. I mean, you already stabbed him through the heart. Might as well decapitate him. Might as well show him he's just Bond. But still, that was kind of a weird interaction for him to trip backwards somehow. I'm not even sure what he tripped on. Did he just magic trip? I have no clue. It almost looks like, that's the weird thing, it almost looks like there's a motion line there that causes him to trip. Was it the turn? I have no idea what caused it. It was weird when I first read it, and I was hoping I could get a better perspective upon rereading, but I still don't know why. It just seems so weird. However, it works out in a sense, because obviously Percival's not dead. But then we get to see that the whole squad now is realizing that, oh no, Percival's under attack, and Sin calls out Levitation Man, the Jedi, if you will, Donnie. And Donnie instantaneously just I love Donnie's reaction. He just grabs, yanks, it's amazing how first he throws Dragon Handle away, right? So he separates it. Ooh, that's interesting. So with 2 fingers, he moves Dragon Handle, which implies that he didn't have to grab it. To be fair, Donnie didn't have to grab things before he just levitated them. But Donnie uses 2 fingers to move an object, but then when it came to throwing Fiditch, he used his whole hand. He went from his right hand to throw Dragon Handle to his left hand to throw Fiditch. And I wonder if that's just a size thing, if there's different potency with the different hand motions. He's if he what part of him did he The blade goes on a spin cycle, so I'm not sure, but I guess maybe the smaller the object, the less fingers Donnie has to use. So for a whole person with his currently picking up a pebble and throwing it mentality, he has to use the whole hand when he goes to grab a whole person, while he may only have to use 2 fingers for an object. I don't know. It was just an interesting, it's little details like that I tend to pick up on a lot, because I have no idea. But we see Fiditch does go flying. Donnie does manage to off guard Fiditch just well enough that he can send him to the afterlife. However, I really do appreciate how Nakba does the power differentiation thing, or not the power, maybe it's power plus skill, But notably, we saw this same technique used on Doranok, but Doranok couldn't do anything. He was just sent ping-ponging throughout the forest and landed. Meanwhile, Fiditch, mid-throw, manages to flip in mid-air after being flying, gently lands against the tree without leaving, like, I think he leaves at best like a tiny little scuff mark, and then he lands and just walks forward. Meaning that Doranok, despite being like literally 4 times Fiditch's size, seems to have like more resistance or like a better understand. Oh, at least he seems to have a better understanding on how to move his body and how his body relates to the general environment around him. And that's still pretty impressive. Like, he got yeeted, but it didn't matter because he kind of just landed. And I think that's really, really cool to show the difference between like a member and the leader. Like, the member couldn't handle what happened when Donnie pulled that out, but the leader casually just ate that up like it was breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And nonsense. Like, I know you're like the team doc. Like, it's kind of weird. When you think about it, like, Nazi is just a debuff Percival. He can heal you, he can buff you, and he also has his own specific unique magic that he can use to buff himself. And he can code his weapon. Like, you know, Nazian's, he really is just best boy in like 15 different ways. But regardless, somehow he can tell Percival has a light concussion. And like, I mean, I guess there are signs. There are signs of a concussion. So I guess Nazi just knows those. But man, Nazian's like, for what, a 16-year-old? You sure know a lot, my boy. And apparently, just as I mentioned earlier, if Percival hadn't tripped, his head would have gone flying. And he tripped as he turned around. Like, Percival doesn't seem that clumsy, though. I don't know. That seemed weird, but you know what? Fine. We'll let it. He turned around. He fell mid-trip. Or no, he fell mid-turn. So he managed to keep his head. That seems like some plot. That definitely seems like some plot. But and it seems like unnecessary plot, too. But, you know, whatever. I'm fine with that. But Nazi seems to know, like, wait a second. I, like, couldn't even see that man move at all. Like, he simply wasn't here before. And that's interesting, because we know these guys can sense magic. Like, they obviously sensed him when he was right behind them. And based on their reactions to him, he seemed to have a lot more magic, at least, like, raw magic strength and raw presence compared to the rest of the Dark Talismans. Because they never had that reaction before, even when they were standing right in front of the Dark Talismans. So, I guess this dude was just, like, heavy suppressing himself or something like that. Because it doesn't, like, if they couldn't even, I get not seeing him, because he probably just walked up from behind. But in that same breath, like, you should have sensed that man. But I guess, well, demons, well, not demons. I don't know why I said demons. My mind instantly related to demons. But characters in Seven Deadly Sins can suppress their magic. But man, he must have suppressed it to, like, an unreal degree to just walk right up on them without any of them noticing. And then we get to see that Sin, once again, with all the Carfax in the world, if you need to buy a vehicle, go to sinfax.com, because he has everything for you. Because he says, nope, that's their leader for sure. The 4th Dark Talisman, Thunderclap Fiditch. And, I mean, it's a cool name. I'm rocking with it. Like, Thunderclap, I mean, I wonder if that relates to his magic. What does that relate to? Because, let's see, what were the others' names? Dornoch the Invincible. And I guess it's just he's big and bulky and has repelling magic. Bergie the Bewitcher, I'm pretty sure, and yeah, I don't know, like, to be fair, none of them really, I mean, I guess if you squint at the right way, right, because Bergie was a witch, she used the magic staff that casts out magic spells. Dornoch was invincible because he's super durable, and the Carrion Eater, his magic was Wither, so he managed to wither things away as if they were carrion, like rotting meat and stuff like that. So he technically, all their names do allude to some sort of their magical properties and or their natures. So maybe Fiditch's magic has something to do with thunder and clapping. I don't know. Maybe it's probably, I still think it, I have no idea. I'm trying to figure out what could his magic be? Because notably, we do not see it in this chapter. Spoilers, but we do not see Fiditch's magic anywhere in this chapter. So I'm kind of wondering what this man, what does he do? Like, Thunderclap Fiditch, is he speedy? Like, he seems speedy. I'll give him that. He was very, very fast. But I wonder what his magical properties could be. And honestly, now that I think about it, speaking of speed, he's built like the Ghetto. Like, you know that one guy who literally had, like, the boost that aged super bad when he ran into Grey Road? Like, he actually has that build. So, Thunderclap, speed, I don't know. I feel like he has the speed magic. However, we get to see that he picks up a rock or two. And, notably, he just throws it, like a casual toss. And Donnie, taking the bait, is like, yo, who do you think you are? You think a little rock is going to work on me? And, apparently, I think Fiditch was actually watching. There's one of two things here, right? Either Fiditch And who knows, it may be both. The Fiditch was watching the Dark Talismans work, and that's why he showed up so casually. He may have not like run up on them, but he was just suppressing his magic and watching his other Dark Talismans go to work, kind of like Sin was stepping back and watching everyone else fight. Or he's like just casually judging the distance between when the rock froze and when Donnie put his hand out and his magic activated and when the rock froze. Because we see he just like under his breath really is like magic effective within 25 feet, and then he blitzes Donnie. Like there's no doubt about it when I say he hard blitzes, because the first rock that he threw with his left hand was able to be caught by Donnie because it was the casual toss. But this bram, I love the sound effects that Nagaba does. Bram manages to blitz Donnie so badly he literally gets conked straight in the forehead and is bleeding insanely. And notably. Yeah, Donnie literally can't even react to it at all. He's knocked off his feet, but Sin seems unfazed. I'm not sure if that's because Sin couldn't react to it either, or if Sin was just like, well, sorry, Don, you're going to have to hold that one, buddy, because I ain't stepping up. It could be a mix of both. But we get to see that Fiditch makes the very astute observation that, so you can move things when you can visually see them, but if you can't see them, you can't move it. And notably, I think Nakaba kind of kills multiple birds with one stone here. One, it shows that Donnie's power isn't going to be like the craziest thing to ever crazy. He does still have a long way to go. He does still have limits. However, this also shows that Fiditch is pretty much beyond the group's speed, or at least not the group, but at least Donnie's speed. And Donnie, whether you want to argue he's relative to, superior to, whatever, in speed to and Percival, Nasi, like I wouldn't say there's an absolutely insane gap in combat speed between anyone in the group. I do believe to some degree they're all relative. But if Fiditch can blitz Donnie from like probably 50 or so feet away with a stone toss, that means in close quarters, it's very likely that any one of them will get pieced up, if you know what I'm saying, which is good. And on top of that, I think it does good for Donnie as well, because it kind of gives an alternate way that Donnie's magic could evolve. Because I'll admit, one of the things I was worried about after Donnie's, whole telekinesis reveal was the idea that this would be Donnie's peak. Like, sure, he can get more creative with the telekinesis, and I think that'll be great. Like, once he starts throwing around his allies and stuff like that, like, he can get more creative with the base magic he has right now. However, I feel like another magic evolution would be very, very interesting, because notably, Percival's magic always has room for evolving. Nasian's can always evolve more. The only person whose magic that may not really be able to evolve is Anne's, but even then, I could see hers evolving in some sort of like future sight way, like essentially a pseudo Sharingan kind of sense, where she'll like be able to see the truth in your actions and your movements, and she'll be able to read you in battle. Like, that's what I see Anne's evolution being magic wise. However, my one main worry with giving Donnie telekinesis so soon, such a drastic amp in his abilities, like going from being able to float things to being able to throw things around and lift multiple things at once, like that's a pretty big amp. I was worried that he wouldn't be able to go anywhere, but now Nakaba presents the idea that while it's currently limited to his one sense, which is his sight, and whatever his reaction speed he has, it could grow to the point where he's able to react to like anything, whether that be like hearing, smell, touch, or whatever like that. Well, obviously, he probably wouldn't want to react to touch-wise because things would hurt. But in actuality, I could see his power growing more. And it could even start to get tied into his magic sensory abilities. Because, say, we know that essentially all of Britannia is soaked with magic. That's what happened. Like, the first thing the demons came out and noticed when they were freed from the Coven of Eternal Darkness was like, hey, for some reason, the overflowing magic that used to be in Britannia is now just sunken into the ground, the animals, and the humans here. That kind of sucks. So we could get Donnie starting to be able to sense things and then essentially become like his own little planet. Like, you could start, like, say things started assailing him from all sides, he could stop them all by just sensing their locations and then start rotating them around with his floating ability or his telekinesis ability. I think that would be a great evolution for him at this point, considering how much of a massive buff he got already. So I'm rocking with that, Nakaba. That was like a 3 birds with 1 stone kind of kill right there. That was all with a stone being tossed. That was pretty darn good. And Nazi, once again, being group doctors, like, hold on, stay calm, I'll stop the bleeding. Meanwhile, Donnie's like, it's bleeding everywhere. I love that. And we get to see that Dornock tries to compliment Fiditch, but Fiditch is like, yo, you call yourselves Dark Talisman? Shame upon all of you, bruh. What's wrong with you? Y'all getting fodderized by some kids, especially you, Dornock. What the heck? You built like Escanor, one of the 7 deadly sins. What the heck are you doing getting fodderized by this random dude that just blitz? And I do love that interaction because it shows that Fiditch is still all about the business. But the thing is, I do think it's kind of notable that Dornock actually does refer to Fiditch as Fiditch. Like, because a lot of the other groups that we've had before, I mean, I'm not sure about the Weird Fangs because I always forget about them, but I know most of the sins referred to, unless in like a very emotional situation, they referred to Meliodas as captain, whether it be Cappy, captain, whatever. And the Ten Commandments typically referred to Zeldris as like Lord Zeldris, something like, they usually put a prefix on it or like some sort of tier of respect. Meanwhile, Dornoch just calls him Fiditch. So I do think that shows some sort of camaraderie, even if we know Fiditch is more than willing to kill his members based on what he did to that one spear throwing dude. Now, I don't know, I'm not sure if that's mixed characterization or it's just like Fiditch is like, I'm fine if you don't fail, but if you start to go nuts, I will have to kill you. So I'm intrigued. I really do like that little implied relationship there that shows that these guys aren't just business partners, they're still homies to a degree. And speaking of homies, a certain homie is a little bit upset with his dark talismans, and that is the idea that, not gonna lie, when the Lord himself, Arthur Pendragon, told me that we would have to slaughter some little ones, I'll admit, I was hesitation. I was not all about that action. I will admit, I'm a nice dude. I don't like to kill kids. However, now that I see this, I wanted their death to be painless, but now I'm just switched up. I want their death to be as painful as possible. I don't want them to die in pain, but only after they taste true despair, faces twisted in horror. I have no water bottles near me, but yeah, he essentially switches on that demon time. And once again, like Sin, you hyped up this group, especially Fiditch, right? As these, and not even just Sin, like Fiditch hype. No, what's his name? I forget his. Hold on, the dude, the Carrion Eater. He hyped up Fiditch too. He was like, "Yo, my boss's motto is all about swift and something." Like he always says, his boss does it quick, but now he wants him to suffer too. Like, what's the word here? Like, do y'all just get a little bit of freaky after failure or something like that? Freaky after F? Like F and F? Like what is going on here? I don't know why you're suddenly so interested in torturing these darn kids. And we get to see Elgin, that's his name. I should have just flipped the page. I knew they said his name in the chapter, I just forgot. But Elgin, it's interesting, right? Because all Fiditch does is raise up his left arm with a quick zip. And we see that a certain someone comes bop, 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 down the tree. And Percival notes that it's Elgin. Hey, Percival, I bet you're regretting keeping him alive now, huh? I bet you are. Because now you got to fight him again. Like, I know, they're kids. But Talisker wasn't a kid and he got slaughtered. So, like, come on now, Percival. You should have known this was going to happen. Isn't this exactly what you wanted? You wanted him to come back. You wanted him to live. Because the fact that you didn't kill him, of course he's going to come back to haunt you. Come on now. And then we get to see something that we haven't seen in a while. Like, chapter 2 or 3 or 4 nights a while? No. I forget when Sin popped up and teleported them away. But regardless, it's been a while. In this season, I think, like, the main time I think of a healing incantation orb being used is way back in season 1. Like all the way back when Bond healed Diana and King. That's the last time I remember a spell orb being used that was specifically for healing. But I'm pretty sure there was another use after that I just can't remember. But it is insane that Fiditch just casually pulls this bad boy out, this old trinket, and manages to just throw it on the ground and suddenly everybody's healed. The whole squad is back on top. And that's no good for our What does that look like? That looks like something. The healing aura reminds me of... It reminds me of something in Original 7 Deadly Sins. Like, the closest thing I can remember off the top of my head is the Demon King Storm that he used on Bon. But I actually don't remember... Like, this... Like, someone tell me. I know this looks like something in 7 Deadly Sins. I forget it. But I know it looks like that. And who knows? I may just remember the original healing orb. I don't think I remember it that well. But, yeah, they're all healed up. Whole squad's back. And we get to see that everyone is shocked that all their effort essentially went to nothing. Because now they're kind of just all in trouble. Because everyone still seems to be down. Everyone just wasted their energy. Meanwhile, as our villains note, wow, we're back to square one. Good to go. Meanwhile, you are all exhausted, battered, and bruised. And yeah, this seems pretty unfair. However, not really. I mean, to be fair, and you have no reason to be complaining. But and hold on. The reason I say that is because I mean, well, no, she has reason to be complaining because she's probably going to get jumped 4-1 in the current scenario that she's in. Because notably, Donnie still seems to be down. Nasi doesn't seem to be fully recovered. And obviously, Percival's got a light concussion, so that's no good. But really, the only threat here, honestly, to the whole gang is Fiditch as long as they can get back on their feet. Because Nasians probably wouldn't want to take the Ceranos buff again, but he very easily could and then wash this boy one-on-one again. He could wash Elgin again. And worst comes to worst, just use Wither on the whole squad, really. Bergie is without her weapon still, so as long as the matchup doesn't switch, her native magic won't work, and she's obviously not that capable of a physical fighter without her staff. And Doranok, as cool as he is, just throw him into another tree like 5 times, and he's also gone too. So I know it's sad and like disparaging because all your hard work went away, but not gonna lie, I mean, except for, really, ironically enough, except for Elgin, and I feel like Elgin can get launched too. These guys are fodder. Like, to y'all, they aren't really that much. So, I know it's a 4v4 now, and I know Sin said y'all couldn't run the 4v4, but I don't know. I feel like y'all couldn't run the 4v1 against Fiditch, but I feel like the rest of you can handle the rest. But then we get to see that everyone, oh no, they're giving into despair. Ukiyor will be proud. But we see that, yeah, they're bringing up the Carfax, like, up, Sin, you said we couldn't have a chance in a 4-on-4 fight. We're done here. And like, oh no, my journey's ending here. I just want to be a holy knight like my mom. But Nonsense is like, man, I guess I'll never be the master apothecary I dreamed of. You know, I'm happy to end with you, Percival. And like, they're kids. They're kids. I gotta remember that because I know this is like a very despairing situation, but y'all literally fought Ironside already. Like, y'all fought what probably would be an endgame of a boss. So, seeing 3 fighters get back up should not be discouraging to y'all. I get why but Fiditch is there. So, Fiditch is probably very discouraging. So, I'll give him that. But, like, the fact that they all leap to despair pretty darn quickly after they just, like, mollywop this entire crew. But they're all tired. That's it. They're all tired. I'm going to give them the pass on that. I'm not even going to complain because they are all extremely tired. They've just been through all this hassle, and now it's all about to start again. However, of course, we got our Shonen MC here. Big Daddy Percival, well, Little Daddy Percival, or little boy Percival, because he's like, I'm never giving. Wait a second, what the heck? Oh wait, yeah, he was thrown away. Never mind. But I'm never giving up. And Donnie tries to say it's pointless, but I'm not giving up because Percival's the main character. You know, like we gotta have this, and notably, right? Because Percival goes on his whole little spiel like, I'll protect you, and Sin, and Nosians, and Anne, everyone. I don't want to lose anyone I cherish ever again. And then suddenly his magic kicks in. And notably, Percival was extremely tired before. And he's already starting to heal and stuff like that. It seems like this is weird, right? But it seems like he talked himself up into a second wind. Like, I'm not sure, notably, I'm not no health scientist or doctor or anything like that, so I'm not exactly sure how second winds work, but Percival literally said a couple words about not giving up, and suddenly his magic is, it's rising, it's overflowing. So I don't really get it. But the thing is, I wonder if Percival's magic is something, is it something internal yet external? Like essentially, this is a weird comparison. I'm not exactly sure how to explain it. But you know how Kurama existed inside Naruto, and Naruto didn't really know about that? Like, it was just there, and he just didn't have a clue? Is there something in Percival that's, like, riled up by his magic, or something like that? Like, I know you can get resolve amps and mental amps in the Seven Deadly Sins verse. This happens all the time. But I don't know. This seems like an insane leap. Like, Percival went from down and out to up and in. Like, these things don't just happen that quickly. So I wonder if Percival's magic is almost like another being that's just listening to his requests. Because I wouldn't be shocked if Naka was getting meta here, because it seems like he low-key kind of is. Because why would Percival's magic flare up like that? It's not like, I mean, Percival's he didn't even look like he was in a near-death state. Sure, he was about to die to the Dark Talismans, but at least physically, he has no reason to recover and come back way stronger. Before it was, oh no, I've been stabbed in the chest, literally dying, if not dead. My friends are bringing me back through their positive energy. Meanwhile, it's Percival saying, I have my own positive energy. I'm going to bring myself back somehow. I don't know. It kind of caught me off guard, kind of confused. I'm not saying that I don't like it. I think it's fine. But it kind of makes me wonder about Percival's magic even more, because it just seems strange at this point. And then we get to see that Sin, the ever optimist, I guess, is like, Percy, wallowing in despair, it just won't help you out, buddy. I hate to say it, I am despair, but you are not despair. So you need to keep on struggling to the better end. And I think it's supposed to say bitter end. I'm not sure. There's some weird typo things in this chapter. Like, there was something like Fiditch said earlier that was also typo weird. Once again, I don't think this is the official translation. Then we get to see that Sin, he just believes in Percival because he's the knight, the fourth knight of the apocalypse. And we all come to a collect. Oh, he doesn't have his whiskers here. Ew. But we all have essentially come to this like pseudo unanimous conclusion that Sin is Lancelot, right? But why would he phrase it like that? Like, you're the knight of prophecy, a knight of the apocalypse. Why wouldn't he say like you're one of the knights of prophecy? Like that would still keep the ambiguous wording that like doesn't clue in on the idea that Sin is Lancelot. But I don't know. It's weird. I know. He's Lancelot. We all agreed on this. He better not be Escanor. Like, see, all it took was one line, and now like a good 5 of us are like, ooh, it could be Escanor. But regardless, I'm kind of intrigued. But we get to see that everyone's now rallying around Percival because now they're like, yeah, you know what? I believe in him too. Donnie was the one who. Of course, Donnie is first though, and I think it's cool that they go in the order that they met him, right? Like Sin believes in him, Donnie believes in him, Noskins believes in him, and Anne believes in him because they all have their own interactions, and I love how they all have their own reasons for believing in him, right? Because Donnie is believing him on the sheer front that, oh, he got us through everything else. Of course, he'll get us through this too. Noskins believes in him because he was emboldened to take this journey and to live as he has lived so far because of Percival. And Anne's emboldened because they're both willing to become holy knights together. I think that's cool. It ties into all their characters and also ties into why they would support Percival in this dire time of need. All that really, really good, really, really juicy. I like that, Knockabout. Good work. And we get to see that all their hopes, all their dreams, all their beliefs are swelling up inside of Percival. And this is what it reminds me of. This is what it reminds me of, right? The blue lantern rings, right? Because the blue lantern rings are hope. And don't blue lanterns charge up other lanterns? Is that what I know there's a lantern ring. I'll admit, I'm still not the best versed in DC Comics, especially not the Green Lantern side. But like, I believe the blue lanterns supercharge other lantern rings, but it seems like a reverse process where like all the hope from his friends is now charging into him, and he's getting all this magic and he's getting healed up. So like, what is that? Like, Percival obviously isn't doing this consciously. Like, I know magic can act on its own sometimes. Like, magic will follow your emotions and stuff like that, but I don't think we've ever seen like a magic get charged up by simply the thoughts, hopes, and dreams of somebody else in 7 Deadly Sins before. We've seen a lot of weird magic, but I don't think it's ever acted like that. So I'm really interested to see what Percival's magic really is. Because to be fair, just like Donnie's magic, it actually hasn't gotten a name yet. So we just know it's hero type magic. So we'll see. We'll see what Percival's all about soon enough. Maybe not soon enough. We may not see it for a while. However, still, I feel like there's going to be a big twist or reveal behind Percival's magic. Because notably, Percival went from having a minor concussion and bleeding in multiple areas to perfectly healed and now swinging a gigantic longsword. And just another way that I love Manga shows the subtle yet important power differences between like the leader and his group, and even some members of the party compared to obviously the leader. Because when Percival swings his blade and it slashes across the ground, everyone leaps back. Dornoch jumps back, Elgin jumps back, and Bergie literally turns and runs. But Fiditch just stands there, unfazed and unbothered, because the man just doesn't care, because Percival doesn't stand a threat to him. And I love that. It just shows it's alpha energy, all right? I just really appreciate what Nakaba does there by showing the sheer difference in might versus, and not just physical might, but might in magic, might in mind, and might in willpower. I love what he shows there with that. Then we get to see that Elgin is just shocked, like, yo, what's this super long sword? And of course, Dornoch is like, don't worry, bro, I'm going to impact us out of here. And interestingly enough, it seems like Impact, actually, no, they're out of range. They are out of range. See, Elgin looks a bit closer in the initial shot before Percival goes into defense mode, but it seems like the others do have to avoid impact. It seems like Dornoch doesn't have control over who his impact hits or not, because for once even Fiditch is like leaning back a little bit trying to avoid the impact. And then we get to see that Percival, once again through sheer force of will, manages to actually interesting. because no, never mind. He does get overwhelmed. Like, as strong as Percival is, he does get bounced back, which is good. I'm glad Percival didn't get this, like, power of friendship amp and then instantly bolos the entire group. Then we get to see that while Percival's sad that, obviously, Dornock outmuscled him, Donnie's willing to take on the giant one-on-one. And it seems like, I'm not sure who's saying I can still fight too, and then and me as well. But I'm assuming it's probably Nasians then. Oh, actually, no, it could be in reverse. It could be and then Nasians. Because now the whole squad is rejuvenated, Donnie's getting healed up, and Fiditch notes, like, wow, interesting. Just between a few words, and the despair completely vanished from their eyes, and now their wounds are vanishing too. Like, they're all managing to build back up. And then Fiditch does a quick hand motion. And it's interesting, like, he has the left hand out, and then zips backwards with the right hand. And his squad seems to understand the command perfectly, and they all lunge in. And Sin, once again, leading his Pokemon team, is like, they're coming, spread out, do not bunch up. And of course, our squad does just that. They go get their own spaces to continue their fights, and they're ready to run the 1v4. Or technically the 1v1 within a 4v4. And we see who they decide to team up on. And it seems like the Dark Talismans have decided to jump Sin. And Sin is noted to be their commander. And that's the end of the chapter. Once again, like, this isn't as weird of an ending to end on. I think the main thing that throws me off about Nakaba's endings in Fortnite sometimes is that there's no ending text like there usually is at the end of a manga chapter, or like no hype up, nothing like that. So I think it always throws me off there, but we get to see that Sin is about to get jumped. Now, this could lead to one of two things. I know what we're all hoping for. It reveals to Sin flexing, showing off his real strength, and like bodying the entire squad, showing that he definitely still has a lot to teach the kids. And or the more likely thing is that while they all tried to jump Sin, it doesn't work out because the gang just like all jumps them. Because notably, I'm not sure where the gang is relative to Sin. However, they all have their eyes and energy focused on Sin. Oh wait, she got her staff back. Wasn't it destroyed? It was not destroyed. Was it? Whoa, never mind. I thought Bergie was useless, but now I'm just noticing she got her staff back. Hold on, let me see something. Yeah, all right. I forgot. Anne didn't actually crush the staff. She just kicked it away. So yeah, it makes total sense that Bergie could just pick her weapon back up. So yeah, Sin really is about to run the 1v4. However, I do think our squad with their Resolve Amp is just gonna like jump all of them again. Like especially with Dornock, if not just the whole squad, like Donnie could legit just throw them all in different directions. I know Fiditch is good enough to react, but I don't think Dornock will be able to, even with his preparation now, because he's literally not paying attention. So I know it'd be dishonorable. Ooh, even if not that, like, nonsense. Most of them have like revealed skin, except for like Fiditch. Stab them with one of your poison swords. You don't even need to use Serenos. Just they're all kind of being dumb. I'm not gonna lie. You should have at least gotten the kids farther away first before you try to focus it on Sin. Because one, you don't know how strong Sin is, obviously, and two, you don't know what the other kids could do to you with your backs turned to them. And two, who knows? Maybe they do have magic sensory abilities, so maybe they would be able to sense the kids sneaking up on them. But I don't know. I feel like it was kind of foolish for them to all turn their backs. I think the next fight or the next chapter will just be the whole squad. It'll be of the real 4v4 versus Sin just watching, and or it'll be Sin throwing some hands. I don't think it'll be Sin throwing some hands, but I'd greatly appreciate that. However, this chapter, it was pretty solid. 8 out of 10. I really do like the chapter. I know the power of friendship stuff. It's a natural part of the narrative, especially for Percival. Still not the biggest fan of it though. It still feels a little bit too strange and too plot convenient for my liking, even if it is legitimately just part of the plot. Like, this is just Percival's powers. I'll probably get over it eventually once it gets explained. However, for now, this is going to be an action chapter. However, those are my thoughts. Please tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and hope you guys have a wonderful day. Also, make sure you hit that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Once again, I'd appreciate any support you would give me on Patreon. Now, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is that guy with the pencil, writing off.